Good afternoon, folks. Just an update for you. I'm really not surprised these guys are selling up, considering the smell that's coming from the site, which as we speak is somewhere over in this direction. I don't know if you can see it through the bushes, but yeah, all I'm going to say is it stinks. I can smell the methane from here. It's like a natural gas kind of smell. Well, natural gas, it's like a cooking gas kind of smell. Quite pungent, leaving a taste in my mouth. I'm feeling very dizzy right now from this smell. This is now downwind of the rig. I don't know if you can see it over there. Doubt it. But it's really close to residential houses, which is illegal in Australia for good reasons. Very good reasons. This stuff is you don't want to hold your breath, it stinks up here. Oh, I'm losing my stream health. Yeah, suffice to say, this thing's still leaking. It's still causing odours in the air. It has been reported to the Environmental Agency since yesterday repeatedly, and they don't really... Well, can you smell that? Yeah. He said yeah. So, it's horrible. It's gut-wrenching, horrible, 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 horrible gas. And I can smell it right now. It smells flammable. You know, you can smell gas. You know the difference between clean air and not clean air, and it's giving me a bit of a headache. So as you can see, it's an extremely residential area. We've got a bus route here if anyone needs to get to us. I don't know what we're watching in this neighbourhood, but it smells like gas. It's still quite strong even now. I'm coming up to the top of the hill from where the camp outside the gate sits. So yeah, we still have an active contamination leak coming from an active onshore fracking well. They don't say it's fracking because it's less than 1,000 meters, and they're not drilling this horizontal way, or they're not. There's something they say that they're doing which makes it not fracking. Now, a conventional oil well has something called a nodding donkey, which is basically you see him from you see it on TV, where you've got this thing that goes up and down and up and down. That's a nodding donkey. That taps into a normal oil reservoir in porous rock. I can still smell it. And yeah, it just comes up to the surface with no stimulation, with no use of acid or any other chemicals or water. The normal oil well uses a nodding donkey, taps into the reservoir, and then you get some oil. That's how they first found oil 100 years ago. You'd put 1 barrel of oil in to get the equivalent of 1 barrel of oil as energy in, and you'd get 100 barrels of oil back for your return. So back in them days it was quite lucrative, and that's why they set the petroleum dollar up, the petrodollar, because they wanted it all based on this industry they had wrapped up, rather than, you know, things like having fun, being social, working, putting time, effort and energy into things. They're things that we all value, right? Not horrible polluting stuff. Everyone's got so used to these things they call cars, automobiles, and yeah, they're good, they're fun sometimes, they're useful, but let's face it, if it's destroying the planet which we live on, the nature which we depend on for breath, the water which we drink every day, that goes into all our food. And by the way, they've been spraying this stuff on various farms in the country. Birds' eye peas were contaminated with fracking fluid at Crawberry Hill. This was reported to Birds' Eye, and it doesn't matter. Apparently your health is not as important as their profits, and TTIP will go into that a bit more. So yeah, basically we have got an active leak from a well onshore next to Gatwick. It just happens to be that wind's blowing the other way today. Otherwise this very volatile, very explosive gas could potentially be heading towards aeroplanes like it was yesterday. And like I said, the environmental agency has been contacted. Whether or not they've been out, we can't tell you. They're not liaising. They say there's a 10-day turnaround for that. So like I say, just up there you can see the bus stop I spoke about a minute ago. It stinks all the way up that hill. The cyclist said he could smell it too. So the leak is still ongoing from yesterday. To be honest with you, I don't think they're ever going to stop these fumes coming off this pad. It's part of the process, as we've found in America and Australia, and it's quite disturbing that this is being allowed on our shores. Our government agency, the EA, is doing nothing whatsoever to try and help the situation. The police are acting in a corporate capacity. They are facilitating trucks moving in and out of this site. Now that doesn't sound like serving and protecting to me. That sounds like helping an investor to rape and collect. So I mean, you tell me. I mean, I don't know. It's just beyond belief. So yeah, the wind's changed direction. It's not on the public footpath now. It's actually on the public highway that this gas is leaking to. If you want to contact the environmental agency for updates, don't bother, because they won't tell you. They say there's a 10-day turnaround, and that's your lot. So I won't bother giving you the reference and stuff, because there's no point. However, make noise about it if you can. Tell people. You know, we've got an actively leaking well right now. This is what's more important than your life, your breath, your water. This is what we're allowing happen to our country. I mean, the poison that could come up from here, if we were to have some kind of a world dispute and we had our trucks stopped coming into the country, ships stopped coming into the country and the Channel Tunnel got shut off, where do we get our food from? Where do we get our water from? I'm sorry, these two things to me are much, much more important than driving a car. My ability to drive a car should not affect other people's lives and their health. And the greatest thing about it is we've already got more alternatives and we know what to do with. There's hydrogen, there's compressed air. That's just to name two. There's hydrogen and compressed air which you could run a car off. That's without electric. Of course, electric requires batteries, and that requires minerals which come from the earth, which is another mining process. Whereas hydrogen requires water, which gets split to water and hydrogen, oxygen and hydrogen, which are both combustible gases, which when burnt combine back into water, with no loss in conversion. So we could run on hydrogen cars straight away. They're already making them now, but they're very expensive. A less expensive form of technology is compressed air. One tank can get you 200 miles when hooked up to a compressor and a battery, and you get that energy from driving and braking, which, you know, is in hybrid cars at the moment. So it's not like we don't have the technology, it's just that we don't have the political will or the corporate will to make these things happen. There's too much money apparently in polluting the environment. So my personal thoughts on this is an arcane, dead dinosaur industry, excuse the pun. They're in Jurassic Shale, it's a dinosaur industry. And we're polluting the world for no reason. We're releasing tons of methane gas every day into the environment. A very, very toxic gas, a very, very potent greenhouse gas, 10 times apparently more powerful than carbon dioxide. And we've had the COP21 talks which have turned around and said, look, we need to phase these out by let's say 2050 as a round number, or else we face catastrophic climate change. I reckon it's 2020 myself. If we don't do it by then, we probably, well, I mean, I don't even know if we could, if we stop now and start putting the right things in place, we might be able to reverse the damage and stop that climate change being catastrophic. But if we carry on much longer like this, personally speaking, my personal feeling is we might not see 2020. We can power homes using hydropower, and I don't mean a dam. There's something called a TROMPE, T-R-O-M-P-E, renewable energy. Look it up. It's there. It's 2,000 years old. It could replace at least nuclear power stations. And let's face it, the amount of places like, say for example, London, where they leave the lights on all night long, and they tell you to turn off your light switch at home to save the world. I think the priority is a little bit mismanaged there. We've got warehouses of stuff all across the world, just collecting dust, stuff that's not really necessary, stuff that we don't need, because we're consumers, and it makes someone else profit. That's someone else who controls your life, or they try and control my life. I don't agree, because everything's made by them. From your underwear to your bottled water, it all comes from petrochemical companies. And yeah, at the end of the day, my personal thing, what do we need to do every minute of every day? You need to breathe. If you can't breathe and you can't drink water, not much else you want to do in the world really matters. It doesn't matter how much stuff you've got. It doesn't matter what kind of a house you live in. It doesn't matter what car you drive. It doesn't matter who your friends were. It doesn't matter. You're dead. If you can't breathe and you can't drink water, you're dead, right? So surely it doesn't matter what invested interests the government has or corporations have. Shouldn't we be collectively going, enough's enough, you know, the environment's more important than your profits. Take what you've raped and fuck off now, and let us get on with repairing the damage. Or, well, I don't know what the or is, I don't know what the alternative is. At the end of the day, that's down to everyone to decide. But right now, somewhere in a town where I used to live, they are releasing tons of chemicals into the environment, into the air. I can smell it, it's causing me to feel sick. It's all the way up there now, but as soon as the wind changes direction, it'll be heading to Hawley, Gatwick, whoever's in the area. Pollution doesn't discriminate, it doesn't care where you live. If you're close enough to it, it's going to get you, and it's going to cause you problems. Anyway guys, there's nothing really much going on apart from the update on the leak. Hopefully the Environment Agency will try and do something, although 10 days is their customer charter. You know, I'm sure if I went off into Hawley now and let off some stink bombs and stuff in the town centre, a bunch of really friendly police officers would come and tackle me to the floor and arrest me. I don't see why this is any different really. It's just another stink bomb. Just this one makes rich people money, investors. And that's what the stock market is, investors. It's meal or no meal. I'm going to buy and sell this, and this grain of rice is going to be more, and we're going to store it in mills, and we're going to make it worth more than it really is, and inflate the price up, and we're going to make a big profit. Meanwhile, people are dying. Every second on this planet, someone dies. Every 2 seconds, it's a needless death, because all it would take is access to clean water, fresh air, shelter, warmth, medicine, stuff that we take for granted. If this was given to everybody in the world, everyone would be fine. Sorry, one person every 2 seconds wouldn't pass away needlessly. We're going to die, everyone's going to die, you're going to die, I'm going to die. I intend to live forever, so far so good. But eventually we're all going to die, right? So that's not the issue. The issue for me is the needless suffering, the needless deaths that are occurring all around the world right now. I'm very privileged to be standing here talking into a camera phone. I'm very privileged to be in a country that doesn't have an oppressive system to the point where they will just abduct you. Oh no, sorry, that happened today. But you get my point. And it's not like we don't have enough space. You could put everybody alive today in Africa with an acre of land, they wouldn't have to see another person, and the rest of the world would be empty. Because Africa's got 8 billion acres. So we've got this space, we've got the technology, we've got the resources. The two things that we're lacking, number one is the money, which is a made-up concept. It's a promise, it's an IOU, and you go and look on your notes. I pay the bearer on demand the sum of £10. £10 of what, by the way? And the other thing is the permission to do these things, or the law. Them guys over there, And I think I've got flying. Oh no, I'm still live, I'm still going. The law, permission or the law, which is also made up man-made concepts. So if you take away the money, the man-made concept of money, and the law or the permission, which is a man-made concept as well, we've got everything we need to make this world a paradise for every living creature. You, me, the animals, the plants. We don't need to go through all of this crap. But, hold on, the rich people would lose their slaves. Couldn't have that now, could we? But, instead, we can have a very dirty, very polluting industry destroying our countryside, our health, our water supplies for generations to come, because this stuff ain't going to go overnight. When they stop drilling this rig, the pollution's going to be in the ground for decades, centuries, maybe even thousands of years down the line. So, and all wells fail eventually. It's made of metal and concrete. Metal rusts, concrete degrades. We know this from America, we know this from Australia. And it's only going to keep getting worse. The more they frack, the worse it gets. So, the way I see it, we've got two choices. You're either on the side of Earth, Earthlings, all animals and humans, or you're on the sides of the corporations. You're a good consumer, or you serve the corporations willingly, like these guys here in this car, undercover police car, or them guys in that van over there, or the security guards behind the fence, or the guys doing the drilling. I don't blame you for filling up your car with petrol. I blame the guys who made the petrol in the first place. I blame the guys who made the car in the first place, because they've had the patents to do better for the last 30 years. And some people would say when Tesla came up with this idea for AC current, he also then had free energy, which JP Morgan, John Perropoint Morgan, who has an office in Sydney, I know that because I've seen it with my own eyes, to this day. He's not here, but his corporation is. He got there by financing oil, by financing Tesla for a little while, but then Marconi beat him to radio by stealing his patents. You know, that kind of thing. This is the world that we live in. Everyone's out in it for themselves, out to get whatever they can, and they don't care who they hurt in the process. They don't care who they kill. They don't care what lives they ruin. As long as they've got their money, that's fine. And Scamrun, the Tories, they're helping them. And as far as I'm concerned, like I say, there's no fence to stand on. You're either a traitor against our species and the collective species of Mother Earth, which we all depend on in coexistence, or you're part of the cancer which is slowly eating away at everything we hold dear. So it's your choice really. What do you want to do? Do you want to carry on being a corporate slave and you know, let them just destroy the world, or should we do something and organise and say, right, we've had enough. This government system doesn't work because it's not representative. People's views aren't heard. Things don't get worked on fast enough to stop people from getting injured and hurt. Look at how many people are dying because of lack of access to simple medicines like marijuana, which can send lupus into remission. It can help people who've got mental illness. It can help people in pain. It can stop cancer in its tracks. It's got a million uses, and yet it's still illegal, even though we've campaigned tirelessly. We've gone to our representatives, we've done petitions, we've done all of that stuff. It doesn't work. Same now. Exactly the same now. Surely the principle of prevention is more important than anything else. And here we go. Stormtroopers are here. Guys, we can still smell methane. It's on the actual main road now. Can you tell us anything about that? Alright, I better start moving because the feds are on their way. Your corporate taxpayers' money, your taxpayers' money going to corporations. BKP, I don't know who they are, but they need to stop supplying trucks to these guys. Flammable liquid, hazardous material going into the environment. After the arrest earlier, it seems that there's a little bit of We don't particularly want to get ourselves in trouble and get arrested this time of night by the looks of it. So there's not enough of us here really to do a successful walk. The stormtroopers and their corporate friends, the police, will do a good job of removing us as quickly as they can, as humanly possible, because it's an inconvenience to the profit making of this corporation. So there's your friendly stormtrooper, corporate officer, sorry. So yeah, considering the chat I just made regarding the methane up there and the fact that it is all corporate, and you've seen it all before, you know we're on Facebook, you know what's going on. The next question for you guys and gals is, can you help? Can you help keep fracking out of the UK? Because if we don't, we all face the same crisis together. Alright, signing off guys.